Sudan. That country's military has moved into neighboring Sudan's Heglig oil field under an unprecedented agreement with both warring parties in Sudan. Now, the move aims to safeguard critical energy infrastructure from the Sudanese civil war. The deployment on Wednesday came after the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces captured that site on the 8th of December. Now, Heglig is important for a couple of reasons. It houses the main processing facility for oil coming out of South Sudan. As fighting intensifies across Sudan's Kordofan region, it's then threatening both the country's primary revenue source, which is oil exports. Patrick Oyet joins us now from the capital of Africa's youngest country, that's Juba. Let's go into a bit more detail on why the oil fields around Heglig and Heglig itself are so important strategically to South Sudan's oil industry.
Yeah, Ramla, the Heglig is extremely important for South Sudan. That is because the Heglig has a central processing unit where oil from especially South Sudan's unity state, the area known as Tharjas, this oil passes through Heglig, then to Port Sudan by pipeline. But that's not all. It is also important for Sudan because now not South Sudan, Sudan now, because there are several oil wells around Heglig, and these oil wells are smaller. You find some producing 10,000, 3,000, 4,000 barrels per day, but then they are all channeled to Heglig. These quantities are channeled to Heglig, where now it is put in one central processing unit and then from there transported to Port Sudan, then to the international market. So it is very, very important. And for South Sudan in particular, anything to do with oil here is considered a national security issue because oil funds more than 80% of South Sudan's budget. So the government actually runs on oil money. So it is a very, very important facility for South Sudan. That's the reason, because it is what transports a lot of oil to the market.
So how exactly will this agreement work? South Sudan's army controls, I'm guessing, not just the processing unit, but the oil fields as well, and then ensures that the oil exports can move freely. Are there any timelines set for how long they're going to be holding that territory?
No timeline set, but the Minister for Information for South Sudan has been speaking to us today. He said this agreement was reached because President Salva Kiir called both generals who are in the opposite sides of the fighting in Sudan, General Burhan as well as General Hemeti, and negotiated with them to really allow the South Sudanese army to take charge of the oil facility for now. Because remember, this area is at the border with South Sudan, but of course, South Sudanese army are the ones controlling, and of course, Heglig for now belongs to Sudan, and the place was taken over by the Rapid Support Forces, and that is part of Southern Kordofan, and these armed forces that were controlling or protecting the oil facility are the only Sudan armed forces around there. So basically they are surrounded, and therefore if the Rapid Support Forces were still continuing to pursue them, it would have been more serious. And if Sudan armed forces also came to try to fight the Rapid Support Forces in that facility, then the facility would have been totally destroyed. And it would be very negative for both countries because oil facilities are extremely expensive. And there are many partners involved, including China, including India, including Nigeria. They're all here. So it would be a very big challenge to the country. And the fact that according to the Minister of Information of South Sudan, that the President Salva Kiir has a good relationship with the two sides. South Sudan is not taking sides in the conflict, and also having come from one country, they know themselves personally. So these have helped in terms of negotiating to have South Sudan armed forces in that area. But of course, when situations become better, as the minister said, the South Sudan stands ready to also help in mediating so that the two parties can resolve these problems through diplomatic means, through negotiations. So if the situation becomes better, then of course Sudan armed forces or Sudan troops will take charge of that area.